Hey everybody, Joe here. I'm back again, and it's the first Wednesday of a brand new month. You already know what that means. It's time for some pickups. What did I get? Let me show you. Compared to most months, I didn't get a hell of a lot, but there's a lot of quality over quantity going on. I continued the little bit of splurging I did last month with, the money I got from my tax refund. Pardon the expression, some people might get offended, but I got a little hood rich on that. Anyway, I got 12 games and a couple other things to show you here. You know, some weeks I have as many as like 25. I think once I even had close to 100 if you count that mega splurge with the Atari games, but I'll just show you what I got. I'm going to kick things off with something I said halfway through this month is that I am not going to be buying very much online over the next couple months, challenging myself to see what I can find and what I can buy if I only look in the wild and at game shops. So no online purchases for the next 2 months is what I'm going to say. Might even extend that to the whole summer. Let me just play May and June by ear and see what happens. So kicking that off, I'm going to show you the games that I found at a thrift shop and 2 that I found at my first trip to the flea market this year. These 4 are from thrift shop. I go to this one thrift shop every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday. I only got out twice last month, and I don't know how often I'll get out in the month of May, but they usually sell a lot of games thrown in with their DVDs, and they're usually just $1. And these 4 were all $1. And we've got SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 for the PlayStation 3. God of War 3 for the PlayStation 3. One more PlayStation 3 game is Sonic Unleashed. Then next one up is a Xbox 360 title, Virtua Fighter 5 Online. Like I said, $1 each. Not going to complain any of them. And then these 2, I paid a couple bucks each at a flea market, my first trip to the flea market this year. And these are pretty decent games. The first one of these I actually have a loose copy of, but now I have a complete version, and that is Fable 2. I've only played the littlest bit, so don't ask. And the other one is L.A. Noire, which I actually happen to also have on PC, but I figured, hey, it was there. It was a couple bucks. Not going to complain or anything like that. Just going to jump in. And the other thing I'm going to show you is this right here. This is one of those Afterglow Xbox 360 controllers. It's got some blue LEDs. I don't know how well you can see that. There's a lot of blue LEDs going on behind me already. But here, I mean, I can always switch it off. And you can switch it back on. You can see the difference. It looked in pretty good shape. I actually was kind of an a-hole, and this controller, I was missing the little rat tail, but there was another 360 controller there at the thrift shop, and I swapped the rat tail onto this one, because this was the one I was buying. But there you have it. Got that. It's a wired, 360 controller, so this will be nice to use with my PC. Although my normal controller that I use with the PC behind me is actually right over here too. I'm going to unravel this real quick and show you. This is a Xbox One Spectra controller. PowerA makes these. These are really nice and not too expensive if you ever see them. But That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about what I bought this month. I've had this for quite some time. In fact, you probably saw this in an old pickups video months and months ago. The next thing I'm going to show you is a bunch of good NES games I got right here. There's 6 NES games, and they're all quality. Or for the most part, they're quality, or they're ones that, you know, quite possibly are worth a buck or two. Except for like one, maybe. So I'm going to start from the bottom here, or at the top, whatever direction I feel like going, with Xenophobe. I know I don't remember if this one was in last month or not, so I put it in this month. If you ever saw the NES A to Z, this was one of the letters that I did, X. And arcade game, very inspired by Aliens. And then next up, RoboCop 3. I don't have RoboCop 2, I just have RoboCop 1 and 3. Next up is Conquest of the Crystal Palace. Next up, Dragon Warrior 2. Yeah, there's a couple heavy hitters you can say in this slot. Vice Project Doom. Thinking back to that NES A to Z once again, my buddy Buried on Mars was pretty entertaining when he mentioned this one. And the last one here, this is a Grail game from my buddy PK. He didn't manage to get it, but I happened to find a copy this month myself, and that was Battletoads Double Dragon. I've never actually played the NES version. I played the Genesis version. I briefly owned the Genesis version, but now I have the NES version. And the last thing I'm going to show you is I have a weird interest in... This actually isn't the last thing I showed you. That's a lie. But I have a weird interest in like bootleg stuff, bootleg games, and oddball crap. And this is called a Seawall RS1. You can actually find these on Amazon. It's a bootleg that plays a bunch of Famicom games. I think it claims it's like, well, here, I'll power it on so you can see. It says, I don't know if you can see that screen if I get in there, 152 in 1. And it's really like the same, like, I think 40 some odd games repeated a whole bunch or something like that. But what do you expect? And the last thing I do have to show, since that was not the last thing, there is one more thing I want to talk about right here. Previously, I had a little Alienware Alpha and a Mac Mini set over here. I've put them both away. I'm actually planning on cleaning them out, you know, getting all my stuff off them and reselling them, most likely, because I got a brand new PC here, and it's pretty darn sweet. I'm going to move my table, move my chair, angle the camera down. There you go. You can see there's my new tower. And what we have here is a one of the new Dell Inspiron 15 gaming towers. It's nothing super outrageous. I actually got it for about, I think, 150, 160 bucks cheaper than what Dell sells it for. It's the AMD Ryzen 5 processor, quad core, of course. AMD Radeon RX 570 graphics card, 8 gigs of DDR4 memory, terabyte hard drive. It's, you know, it's very formidable. You know, gonna be slightly future-proof. Maxes out at 32 gigs of memory. You can always upgrade the video card. You know, throw a solid-state drive in. In fact, seeing, you know, the prices of the memory and solid-state drive, those are probably going to get done sooner rather than later. I'm not saying like this month, next month, but, you know, before the year is out, probably I might upgrade a few things on this. And it's pretty sweet being able to play certain games in high quality, which I wasn't able to do with the Alienware. But then again, that was a little tiny micro desktop with nothing really upgradable or anything like that. It was cool, don't get me wrong. It ran some things very well, but needless to say, this is a little bit better. Alright, there you have it. That is what I picked up in the month of April. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.